Have you ever been ignored by a woman you actually like and felt your chest tighten the moment you saw she viewed your message but didn't answer? And you told yourself you'd be calm this time, but your finger still hovered over the keyboard. One more text. One more, "Hey, everything okay?" One more joke to make it light. Because silence from her doesn't just feel like silence. It feels like a verdict. Here's the disturbing truth. The moment a woman ignores you, most men don't lose her because she's not interested. They lose her because they reveal how easily they can be controlled by uncertainty. Ignoring isn't always a rejection. Sometimes it's a test. Sometimes it's laziness. Sometimes it's her keeping options open. But the real damage happens when you start paying for her absence with your dignity. And if you don't see the pattern now, you'll repeat it with the next woman, and the next, and you'll keep calling it bad luck. Reason 1. Stop chasing and go quiet, because chasing turns her silence into a reward. Every time you double text, you teach her something. Ignoring you produces effort. It produces attention. It produces emotional labor. She doesn't even have to be cruel. She just has to do less, and you'll do more. That's the trade you're making. You know the moment I'm talking about. It's late. The room is dark. You tell yourself you won't check your phone again. Then you do. Still nothing. And you feel the urge to fix the uncertainty like it's a leak in the wall. So you send the polite message that's pretending to be casual, but it's really a leash you're trying to put back on the connection. That one message doesn't make her respect you. It tells her she can disappear and still keep you emotionally on standby. Going quiet removes emotional access, and that's what she actually feels. Not your words, not your explanations. She feels the missing energy. She feels that the connection is no longer being carried by your nervous system. Silence forces her to sit with the gap instead of feeding on your attention. And the gap is where her mind finally has to ask, wait, is he still there? This isn't punishment. This is ending the habit of begging. You're not trying to hurt her. You're refusing to be trained. No explanations means no leverage. She can't twist your words into control. She can't bait you into defending yourself. She can't pull you into a long conversation where you end up apologizing for wanting basic respect. The calm exit hits harder than anger because it feels final. Anger still means you're emotionally available. Calm means you might be gone. And here's the clean truth. If she cared, she'll return with effort. If she used you, she'll vanish. Either way, you win because you stop donating your dignity to someone who won't even meet you halfway. Here's the moment everything quietly changes. When you mirror her effort exactly. Most men overinvest because they're scared the connection will die if they stop pushing it forward. So they become the engine. They plan, they text, they reassure, they keep the vibe alive. And when you become the engine, she becomes the passenger. Comfortable, lazy, watching, deciding. Overinvesting makes her lazy because your effort becomes free labor. Matching her effort exposes the truth without a confrontation. You don't need a speech about communication. You don't need to accuse her of playing games. You simply stop treating crumbs like a meal. If she gives one-word replies, you don't send paragraphs. If she takes a day to respond, you don't respond in 30 seconds with enthusiasm like you've been waiting in a chair. And mirroring isn't about being cold. It's about being honest. If she's giving you a half connection, you stop building a full fantasy on top of it. You stop doing the emotional work of two people. You let her effort be the real message, because effort is always more honest than words. Mirroring removes her ability to keep you as an always-there backup, because backups are fed by predictable availability. The moment your energy becomes equal, she has to decide whether to step up or step out, and that decision is everything. You'll notice the shift instantly. Some women respond with a sudden burst of, "Where did you go?" energy. Not because they love you, because they're feeling the loss of easy access. Other women simply fade, Because they never wanted a bond, they wanted a mirror. Either response is clarity. Either response saves you time. It protects your dignity because you're no longer chasing a moving target. You're no longer trying to impress someone who isn't investing. Her response to your mirroring shows whether she wanted you or just attention. Equal energy is a filter. Low-effort women fail it fast, and they always reveal themselves the moment you stop doing all the work. This is the part nobody talks about. Stay calm, not hurt, because hurt energy leaks through texts like sweat. You can say you're fine, but your tone is begging. Your punctuation is begging. Your speed is begging. You start sending messages that look casual but feel like a check. Just seeing how you're doing. Hope your day is good. Translation: please reassure me I still matter. Calm says you can lose access without losing yourself. Reactivity makes you easy to steer. Steadiness makes you hard to move. If you get angry, she can label you emotional and escape accountability. Now the conversation is about your reaction, not her behavior. If you plead, you confirm she has power over your self-worth. You turn her ignoring into a throne, and you kneel in front of it. Some women even rely on that. They'll push you into reacting just so they can feel important again. They'll go quiet, then return with a sharp little comment, hoping you'll defend yourself. Because defense is attention. Attention is access. And access is comfort. Calm creates tension because she can't predict your next move. A man who stays composed isn't a man who's cold. He's a man who has a center. And the center is what women respect, even when they don't admit it. Your silence should be clean, not passive-aggressive or performative. No dramatic goodbye. No, fine, do what you want. Just a quiet return to your own life. And if you want to know whether you're calm or just quiet, here's the test. Can you put your phone down and not feel like you're losing oxygen? Can you go to sleep without checking one more time? Can you live your day without hoping for the vibration? Because if you can't, it means she's not ignoring you. She's controlling you. Now watch what happens when you do the next move. Make your life loud, not your texts. Your life is your value. Your texts are just the receipt. If your world is small, her attention becomes your whole world, and that makes you dangerous in a weak way. You'll chase, you'll cling, you'll overreact because you don't have enough else to hold you up. A full schedule makes you scarce without trying to play games. When your world is bigger than her, she feels she's being chosen, not needed. Busy men don't beg, and begging is what kills attraction because it smells like fear. Building your life removes the emotional addiction to her replies. You stop refreshing your screen for meaning because you have meaning elsewhere. And don't confuse this with posting a fake highlight reel to make her jealous. That's still chasing, just with your ego. Life loud means real motion. Gym, work, friends, skill, health, purpose. It means your silence has weight because your life has weight. She notices absence more when your presence isn't desperate, because she can feel that you didn't go quiet to punish her. You went quiet because you have somewhere else to be. Your progress becomes proof you weren't depending on her. And if she comes back, she meets a man with momentum, not hunger. That's the difference between a man she can toy with and a man she has to take seriously. Here's where men destroy themselves. Don't ask for clarity twice. One clear question is confident. The second is a plea for reassurance. The first time you ask, you're setting a standard. The second time you ask, you're negotiating with your own standard because you're scared of the answer. This is what it sounds like in real life. The first message is simple. Are you still interested in seeing each other? Then the silence hits, and your mind starts bargaining. Maybe she didn't see it. Maybe I should rephrase. Maybe I came off intense. And you send the second message, softer, friendlier, easier to ignore. And you just told her you'll tolerate confusion to stay connected. Asking twice teaches her that maybe is enough to keep you on a leash. Clarity is a standard. If she can't give it, she doesn't get full access. Silence after your question is an answer, not a mystery. The second request turns you into a negotiator for basic respect, and women don't respect men who negotiate their own dignity. When you stop chasing answers, you stop being easy to park. If she wants you, she'll make it clear without you dragging it out of her. And if she doesn't, walking away is the cleanest form of clarity you'll ever get. Because you can't debate someone into wanting you. You can only stop rewarding their indecision. And this ties to the next truth. Treat silence as an answer. Ignoring is often a soft rejection designed to keep options open. Not always, but often enough that you should stop pretending it's busy. If you keep texting, you turn her silence into power. You make her absence feel like dominance, and your presence feel like submission. Treating silence as no protects your self-respect immediately. It ends the loop where you interpret crumbs as hope. You stop building fantasies on someone else's absence. When you accept the answer, you stop being emotionally controllable. And if she returns later, you judge her by consistency, not words. A man who respects himself doesn't argue with silence. Now, the cleanest move of all. Remove access without drama. Drama keeps the connection alive. Clean boundaries end it. No long speeches, just reduced access and steady behavior. You don't need to announce that you're stepping back. You just step back. Removing access forces her to feel consequences instead of comfort. If she benefits from you, she'll fight the boundary harder than her behavior. She'll call you childish. She'll call you cold. She'll act like you're the problem for not being endlessly available. But if she values you, she'll adjust without needing a war. And this is why reverse psychology works when it works. Not because you manipulated her mind, because you stopped participating in a dynamic that was built to drain you. You don't need to win the conversation. Just stop rewarding disrespect. Calm distance is stronger than threats because it doesn't negotiate. The door closes quietly, and that quiet is what changes everything. Now here's the part that flips the whole topic inward. Because reverse psychology isn't a trick you play on her. It's the mirror you hold up to yourself. Because the reason you chase when she ignores you isn't only about her. It's about the story you attach to being ignored. It's the old fear that says, if she doesn't respond, I'm not enough. And that fear turns you into a man you don't even respect. A man who begs softly. A man who waits. A man who keeps his dignity in his pocket and pulls it out only when it's safe. Here's the moment you have to face. You're not just addicted to her reply. You're addicted to the relief it gives you. The relief that you still matter. The relief that you weren't discarded. The relief that you're still chosen. And that addiction is why you break your silence too early. Why you fold under guilt. Why you accept crumbs as proof of potential. You can feel the addiction in your body. The way you check your phone one last time. The way you rehearse what you'll say if she replies. The way you try to sound casual while your mind is screaming for certainty. That's not you being in love. That's you being exposed. Because the moment she withholds, you realize how much of your confidence was built on being wanted. So when you act like this, the real challenge isn't going quiet. The real challenge is staying quiet without needing an outcome. Because if your silence is just a tactic to force her to chase, you're still chasing, just from a different angle. And she can feel it. She'll feel the hunger behind your calm the second you respond too fast. She'll feel it in the way you try to steer the conversation back into comfort. She'll feel it in the way you soften your standards the moment she offers a little warmth. This is where the man either changes, or he repeats the same cycle with a new face. Because if you don't fix the part of you that panics when you aren't chosen, you'll always be controlled by anyone who knows how to withhold. And once you see that, you start realizing something uncomfortable. Being ignored is not the real problem. Being easily moved is. And that's why what happens next matters. Because after you go quiet, after you mirror, after you stop negotiating, she doesn't usually come back with an honest confession. She comes back with a hook. Warmth first, because warmth doesn't look like a tactic. And if warmth doesn't work, guilt, because guilt makes good men fold. And if guilt doesn't work, escalation, because a reaction is still access. The question is whether you can feel your nervous system reach for relief and still keep your standards. Because the moment you take the relief, you become reachable again, and the whole dynamic resets, right back to the beginning, right when you thought you changed it. And that's when you'll learn whether you're really acting like a man or just acting like one. Because the first real test is never her silence. It's what you do when she finally breaks it, and you feel that old hunger rise in your chest, and you want to reply instantly. You want to say something clever. You want to prove you didn't care while showing you care. You want relief more than you want respect. And that's why most men fail right here, after they did everything right for 3 days. Here's the moment everything turns. When she finally breaks the silence, it won't usually be honest. It will be comfortable. Warmth first, because warmth doesn't look like a tactic. It looks like a door opening. This is the part nobody warns you about. She'll use warmth to pull you back. A soft message, a playful tone, a miss you dropped like bait and left there. She offers just enough affection to reopen the line without addressing why you went quiet in the first place. It feels like she's finally coming around. It feels like you won. But watch the timing. The warmth arrives exactly when she feels you slipping out of reach, not when she suddenly became accountable. Warmth is the safest hook because it doesn't bruise her ego and it hits your weak spot instantly. Most men don't miss the woman. They miss the relief her warmth gives them. So they rush back. They flood her with attention like they've been starving. They start talking like everything is fixed. They hand her access again and call it maturity. And once access is restored, the sweetness often fades. Not every time, but enough times that you need to understand why. If the warmth was a tool, its job is finished the second you respond. It didn't come to build. It came to reset you, to calm the discomfort of losing control, to bring you back into orbit so she can breathe again. Here's the moment you can tell the truth from the tactic. Real warmth doesn't collapse when you don't reward it immediately. Real warmth stays consistent even when you don't rush. Real warmth shows effort, not just flirting. Tool warmth spikes, gets you back, then returns to the same low effort that made you go quiet in the first place. The pattern always reveals the intent. And the shock isn't that she used warmth. The shock is how fast you're willing to sell your standards for it. If warmth doesn't work, she goes to the next lever. Here's the moment she tries guilt. Because guilt is the easiest way to get a good man to fold. She'll frame your silence as cruelty so you'll defend your character. She'll say you changed. She'll say you're playing games. She'll say she's confused by you. The point is not to communicate. The point is to put you on trial. Because the second you start defending yourself, she has you again. You're explaining. You're negotiating. You're trying to be understood. You're emotionally available. And emotional availability is access. Victim language is powerful because it makes you feel responsible for her discomfort. You start thinking, maybe I went too far. Maybe I should reassure her. Maybe I'm being cold. And you soften your boundary to prove you're not the bad guy. That's the trap. If you apologize for your standard, you teach her it was never real. You teach her your self-respect has a price and she can pay it with guilt. Here's the cold rule. You don't argue with guilt. You observe it. If she's offended by your silence, but not concerned about why it happened, she doesn't want connection. She wants control. If her focus is your reaction instead of her behavior, She's telling you exactly what kind of dynamic she prefers. And if you hold your line without explaining, something interesting happens. She either adjusts or escalates. Sweetness turns into irritation. Irritation turns into little jabs. Because if she can't pull you back with warmth or guilt, she'll try the oldest method left: a reaction. Because a reaction still means you're hers emotionally, even if the reaction is anger. Now here's the reveal that most men call reverse psychology, but it's really just consequences. Reason 8. Let her miss what she lost, because missing can't happen while you're still available. Men try to create absence while still orbiting. They go quiet, but they watch her stories. They stop texting, but they like her posts. They don't reach out, but they keep checking if she's online. They call it discipline. It's not. It's addiction with better manners. If you want her to feel the loss, you can't keep feeding your presence in small ways. No lurking. No check-ins disguised as politeness. No accidental reminders you exist. The absence has to be real. Because the only thing that makes someone recalibrate is consequence. And the consequence of ignoring you is that you become harder to reach, harder to reset, harder to keep in the background. When absence is real, her mind starts doing what it always does. It fills the gap. It replays moments. It wonders if she misread you. It starts noticing what was free only after it's gone. But don't get excited about that. Because sometimes what she misses isn't you. It's the comfort of knowing she could summon you. The control. The guaranteed attention. The safety net. And that's why you don't measure missing by words. You measure it by effort. If she truly misses you in a real way, she will move toward you with consistency. If she only misses access, she will keep trying to reopen the line with low effort and emotional hooks. Let her miss what she lost, and you'll find out what she actually lost. Here's the part most men can't tolerate. The waiting isn't the test. The test is what you do with your own anxiety in the waiting. Because your nervous system will beg you to break the silence for relief. And if you do, you don't just end the absence. You end your leverage. You tell her your boundary was just a mood. Now, let's get to the move that decides whether you get respect or you get looped. Reason 9. Reappear only with standards. Because coming back too easy teaches her nothing changed. If she reaches out after ignoring you, your response determines the new rules. Most men respond like a starving man, fast, warm, overinvested. They try to lock it down immediately because they're terrified the warmth will disappear again. And it does, because they just proved they can still be reset. Reappearing with standards is simple. It's not a speech. It's pacing. It's not giving full access to someone who offered you none. It's not acting offended, but not acting grateful either. It's you meeting her energy, not exceeding it. It's you requiring consistency before intimacy. If she ignored you, she doesn't get the best version of you instantly just because she said, hey. She gets a measured version, a calm version. A man who is open to connection, but not open to confusion. Your warmth becomes something she earns through consistent behavior, not something she can summon through a single message. And if she asks, why are you being like this? You don't over-explain. Over-explaining is negotiating your standard. You keep it clean. You keep it calm. You let your behavior speak. Because the moment you turn your boundary into a debate, you turn yourself into a man who can be talked out of his own dignity. Here's the brutal truth. If she wants you, she will tolerate your standards. If she benefits from you, she will fight your standards. And the fight tells you everything you need to know. Now, the last reveal is the one most men avoid, because it requires you to accept something your ego hates. Reason 10. Walk away before you beg, because begging is the point of the trap. Ignoring is often a soft rejection designed to keep options open. If she can keep you available while giving you nothing, she gets the benefits without the responsibility. And the longer you stay in that space, the more your self-respect rots quietly. Walking away isn't drama. It's not blocking out of emotion. It's not sending the final paragraph that's really a plea. Walking away is the clean decision to stop investing where you're not respected. It's you refusing to compete with silence. It's you refusing to be a backup. It's you refusing to be managed by someone else's attention. Because once you beg, you don't just lose her. You lose yourself. You lose the part of you that used to have standards. You become the man who negotiates for basic decency. And even if she returns after you beg, she returns to a weaker version of you. A version she can manage. A version she doesn't need to respect. So you walk away before you beg, and you save your identity. Now let's bring it down to the cold center of the whole title. Reverse psychology is not some clever trick to make her chase. The real reverse is this. You stop letting her behavior dictate your behavior. You stop letting her silence dictate your worth. You stop letting her attention decide whether you feel like a man today. Because that's what the ignoring actually does to most men. It turns them into workers. Workers for validation. Workers for reassurance. Workers for scraps. And they call it love because love sounds nicer than addiction. When you act like this, you don't win by getting her back. You win by not losing your frame. You win by refusing to be trained. You win by making your attention a choice again. And that's why it works when it works. Not because she's shocked by your silence, because she's shocked by your self-respect. And if she levels up, you'll know. It won't be one sweet text. It'll be consistency. It'll be effort that doesn't collapse. It'll be clarity without you dragging it out. It'll be her meeting you where you stand. If she disappears, you'll know something too. You weren't a priority. You were a convenience. You were access. And the moment access required respect, she wasn't interested. That's not a tragedy. That's the truth arriving early enough to save you. So the next time a woman ignores you, don't let your ego write a desperate story and act it out through texts. Don't chase the relief of being chosen. Don't negotiate your value in her inbox. Go quiet. Match effort. Stay calm. Build your life. Ask once. Accept silence. Remove access without drama. Let her miss what she lost. Reappear only with standards. Walk away before you beg. And if this made you see something you were avoiding, you already know what to do.